Okay, I have 6:01, so I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we'll welcome you. Thank you for joining in the Zoom question and answer for Caldwell Early College High School. I know some of you are, kind of tag team in between here and CASA, so we thank you. I will introduce myself. My name is Kim Burns. I teach fifth year seminar here at the early college. I've been here for a long time. I love working with students and making sure they're able to attend college and get as much money as possible to help ease the cost of college, because it is expensive. I'll let my other teammates introduce themselves.
Okay, I'll go. I'm Meredith Griffin, and I'm fortunate enough to be the principal at Caldwell Early College High School. This is my second year as principal at the early college, and I think that you're going to find, even though this is via Zoom, that you're going to get a lot of valuable information. The good thing, as Ms. Burns said, is that we've got everything linked on our website, so she can show you exactly where to go. So that once we're finished tonight, if you want to go back and look or listen, you're certainly able to do that. But, I have seen personally what a huge benefit this program is to students, and really something that even spending all of my educational career in Caldwell County schools, I really didn't know until I got the job at the early college. So again, I think that you'll find a lot of useful information, and we'll certainly make sure that even after tonight, you know where to go to see that.
Okay, I lost Miss Forster somewhere on the screen. I think there she is. I see her now. Things are jumping around. Miss Forster, will you introduce yourself to everybody here?
Hi, everybody. I am Kim Forrester, the school counselor at the early college. This is my fourth year at the early college, coming from a traditional setting. So it's been a wonderful experience for me. I love the early college. I love all the benefits it has for students and the close-knit family that it offers. It's just a really great community to be a part of. And I welcome so I will give you any support I can. I'll help you in any way I can in your journey if you decide to come and your child to the early college.
Miss Long, you're up.
Hello, I am Caitlin Long. I'm the transition advisor for the early college and the community college. So I help with registration for classes, sure that students have everything to get their degrees on track for that, and anything college related.
And we are fortunate to have Miss Long. She actually is a graduate of our school also, and so she knows what it's like to be here grades 9 through 5th year and go off to the university and come back. So I think that's pretty much everybody now that's on our team that's here. We may have some more staff members pop in a little bit later. I am going to start though, and I'm going to screen share and show you where to find everything. Every video that we have, the application, anything that you want to go back and watch, or you want your son or daughter to go back and watch. So let's see. Of course, it doesn't pop up first thing. Hang on one second. I practiced screen share a million times and then okay, let's see. Okay, let's see if it works this time. Here we go. I am hoping, did that work? Are you all seeing our school website? Hope so. So any of this information, if you go to caldwellschools.com and you click on or select Caldwell Early College High School, we really can't control what goes on this first page. If we could, we would put it right here so you didn't have to click anywhere else, but we are bound by the rules of this, of the website. So therefore, what you're going to look for is this About Us section. And when you go to About Us, you should see prospective students. Once you click on prospective students, this page, thinking of joining the CECHS family, comes up, and I want to draw your attention. Here's the application packet. So if you already have one, you got one from school, you need another one, you can print here. If somebody's messed up or you need to put something different, you can print another copy. We also have those in our school office. So if it's convenient for you to stop by and get another one, you can do that. Here's the Zoom link for tonight, and then some general information about our school. And then also here, our timeline is listed. So when the applications go live, when they're due to middle school counselors, notifications to students in mid to late March. Sometimes that depends on the weather. It seems like for a couple years, we would always have snow or something that we missed school, or right around when the applications were due. So maybe we had to extend it. So that's why it's kind of a little ambiguous there. Next, if I'm scrolling down, you'll see the videos. This first video, Are You a Mustang? This is the video that the teachers filmed. All of the teachers in our school recorded this video. I like this video because it's a good, it takes you on a good tour of our school. If you've never been inside our building, it starts from the outside, goes up the steps into the cafeteria, down the 9th grade hallway. So students are kind of able to see what the inside of our school looks like. Of course, our building is K building on the Caldwell Community College campus. We're right across, directly across the street from Burger King. So we're the building that's right at the stoplight if you've never, or you're not familiar with the campus. This next video is a video, it's a wonderful video, and the students are featured in this. So our students that are currently here are speaking in this video about why they like our school, why they think it's special, a little bit about their goals and what they want to do. And then this next video down here was I recorded this. This is the session that I presented to all the 8th graders when I visited all the middle schools in the county. And this is just this wasn't filmed at one of those schools. I filmed it here at this school, but it basically is the same thing that I presented to parents if you were here for the parent session. And so once again, this is on our school, all of these things are on our school website under About Us and prospective students. So that's how you get to that part. Now, our applications are due next week to counselors. And if you are homeschool or private school, they homeschool and private school, you bring those by the office, our office downstairs. Let me see if I can stop share. Anybody, Ms. Griffin, Ms. Long, Ms. Forrester, do you have anything else to add about the website? No, we're good. Okay, so I'm going to stop share. So we'll go back full screen. A couple of things before I open it up for questions. I made a few things to talk about. One is, I did try to explain to students that they are enrolled in college classes beginning first semester their 9th grade year. So they immediately start college classes. That's different at some other schools where they wait a little while longer, maybe their sophomore year before they're enrolled in a college class. Here they start it immediately. They have college classes every single semester. It's not an option to like take a semester off and not take a college class. We try to cohort things. A lot of students think it looks, you know, in as far as the feel of it, it's cohorted kind of like a middle school. They're in groups. It's a small group, but you know, we are bringing students in from 7 feeder schools, homeschool and private schools. So students are coming in from all over. The courses will be challenging and there will be homework, and we want to be upfront about that, but we give a lot of support. There's academic support, all kinds of things to help students get through. It's not impossible, but they're going to learn. They will be college students. Now, the first college class they take will be, it's actually PE, and it counts as a high school requirement. And then they only have one in the second semester. We have support for students. We like to tell students they don't have to be honors level right now, but they need to be capable of working at honors level. And one thing we consistently say is that attendance is very important, because if you miss, you're missing a whole lot of things. And college classes, they don't have excused absences. So you can't miss too many, or they just drop you from the roll. Let's see. As far as the high school experience, you know, students always say, well, I'm not sure about this because I don't know about that. I don't want to miss out on the high school experience. Most of those things they're thinking about, we do have, like prom and dances, driver's ed, because that's a big one, clubs. We also have things like community service, which not every school is able to do that during the day like we are. So we do have some flexibility to be able to have students do that, as well as college visits, and then just the really hands-on help that we give to students to be able to go to college. A few things from the previous parent sessions that we had questions about, so I want to share these. People have asked, what's the difference between an associate's degree and like a technical degree? Because you can have a school like CASA, which has a fantastic program. Some of those college classes are technical classes, and so they are college classes and you're getting technical credit for it. But it could be you could take classes that aren't transferable to a four-year university. So I want to make sure everybody understands, at Caldwell Early College, every class you take transfers to a four-year university. And so that's the preparation they're getting, is to go to the university to complete a bachelor's degree. Does somebody want to talk about limited transportation and how that works?
I can. Normally, students, of course, who need bus transportation would still let their home high school, district high school, know that they need to join that bus route. The bus would pick them up at their home, take them to their local high school. From the local high school, you would then get on the bus, a shuttle bus that brings you from the high school to either CASA or to the early college. Some days, of course, our calendars aren't always the exact same. The traditional high school calendar and the Cooperative Innovative High School calendars are a little different. We start a little bit before they do. We get out a little bit before they do in a typical school year. So that means that their regular bus routes aren't running. So we call those days where the traditional high schools are not in school, transportation days for the Cooperative Innovative High School. And it does mean that a shuttle would still be provided for your student, but you would be responsible for getting your student to that district high school to get on the shuttle instead of the bus picking them up at their home. But that's only on days where our school days are not the same, where the traditional high school is not in school, but Caldwell Early College or CASA is in school. So we can always get the bus from the high school to our school, but there may be days where they need a ride to that district high school first, or to be picked up there in the afternoon. So I hope that makes sense.
Very good. Does anybody have a question about limited transportation or bus transportation? You can unmute yourself and ask a question.
Yes, can we drop off the kids at the community college in the mornings to taking the buses if you prefer to do that?
Absolutely. Yes, we have a large number of, especially on limited transportation days, even more that, it's just as convenient for people to have their students dropped off here at school than getting them to the traditional high school to catch the shuttle. So yes, every day we have a large number of students who are dropped off and picked up here.
What time's your classes start in the morning?
8:05, is that correct for this school year?
So
8:05.
will the classrooms be open at like 7:50 or are they officially 8:05?
No, well, it's different because of COVID. Normally our students would gather before school in the cafeteria, but this year as students enter, they're offered breakfast and then they go to classrooms and they stay, socially distanced in the classrooms. But we're hopeful and optimistic. If maybe the fall we return to a more normal schedule, then if they're dropped off earlier, they would go to the cafeteria and they could meet their friends, eat breakfast, work on homework, all of those things in our cafeteria.
Are they supervised?
Oh yes, they're always supervised.
So just because they go on a college campus don't mean they're not supervised. It still is high school to a point. They're supervised.
There's probably, truthfully, more supervision. Having taught traditional high school, there's probably more supervision here than normal, because we understand we walk them to college class, we go up there and we come back. Now, not fourth and fifth year. When they're 17, 18, 19 years old, we're not walking them up to college class, but definitely 9th, 10th, and 11th, they are supervised. We don't stay in the college class with them, but basically we take them to the door and pick them up at the door. And they have to check in after class. When class is over, we're checking them off to make sure we have everybody back. So.
This is Sarah. I have a couple questions, and if you want to hold off to go over some things.
Okay.
I want to ask in regards to Caldwell Connect students that have been fully remote. I know that there are 2 teacher recommendations in the application packet. And of course, as a parent, you have concerns that students and teachers didn't get to build that camaraderie, the understanding. I didn't know if there was different criteria that whomever is selecting these applications will be followed due to these different circumstances, if that makes sense, and if you could speak to that.
Okay, I think for the recommendations, the only thing that they really ask is that they be like a core subject, math, science, English, or social studies. It's not specified that it has to be an 8th grade instructor. It could be 7th. They had more of a normal year. We just, I think the committee just asked, at least from an academic core subject, to have some type of documentation from a core teacher.
Okay, that's good to know.
It does not have to be an 8th grade instructor. So, and
for early college high schools, do students need to take any college placement tests, like the AccuPlace or that traditional when you're going into college a student might take?
I'll let Ms. Long answer that one.
Currently, as of right now, they are not taking placement tests. They have in years past. I took the AccuPlacer and they've taken RISE. They're reworking those requirements right now, but a lot of it can be done on GPA. Oh, my light went off. On GPA. And they also, the classes they take in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, those are called UGETC classes. They're universal transfer classes, and they use their GPA and their credits in those classes to take the Englishes and the maths later on in their career.
Okay.
So,
all right.
As of right now, there's not placement tests. That could change next year because they're redoing those requirements. But
understood.
Yeah.
And one last, not just for me, I have a younger child. Could someone speak to IEPs, 504s, how experience you guys have with handling those things and accommodations when it comes to a wide berth of accommodations, as you well know. And I don't know
Right.
if someone could speak to that.
Ms. Forrester?
Yes, we can accommodate those 504s and IEPs just like any school. And as far as the high school, of course, we meet yearly and update any 504s as needed. And then those students also, I arrange that they meet with the counselor for disabilities at the college each semester so that they can receive their accommodations there. It is a two-step process because it doesn't automatically transfer once we do it at the high school, but I do help coordinate that with them so that they can receive the accommodations at the college level.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think, Ms. Christy Clement, do you have a question? You can unmute yourself and.
Can you hear me?
I can now, yes.
Okay. My son is in band class, and I was wondering if you guys had any opportunity as far as band, like any sort of musical classes, or is there within the early college, are they able to attend band through the high school, middle school, or are they able to do that at all?
Well, here's the thing, I don't know, they're not able to attend band class. And so it's, as a general rule, typically we say they can't participate in band or chorus at traditional high schools. However, inevitably every year we have students who do participate in band at the schools because they arrange with the band director, and the band director allows them to, whether it's coming after school. So I can't say that we've never had students march in the band. I know we have at both West Caldwell and Ms. Griffin at High Brighton also. I just feel like that's something that it definitely we can't arrange, but I think if the student reaches out to the band instructor and they can make that work, then we're okay with that. It just, our students wouldn't be able to leave to attend band class during the day because that's when they would go to college class. Now, the other part of your question, we do offer as many musical opportunities as we can. We have a fantastic music club that performs and plays. They play at events in the community. They've played in Hickory before. They play for school events, and they've played at college events. Now, it's more like a club. It is a music club. Also, our students, they'll take classes in music, and then when they are in their 4th and 5th year, they're actually able to expand upon that and take classes in guitar, be in the college chorus class. So, I mean, but that's later on, and that's not really the same thing. So I don't know does anybody else want to add to that about the music?
Currently, our 9th and 10th grade students in 9th grade, some of them are taking music appreciation, and in 10th grade, jazz appreciation. So those are the two classes currently that our students are taking. There's also some ensemble, like percussion ensemble, and I think maybe woodwind ensemble at the college that they can take in that 4th and 5th year, along with those guitar, piano, and chorus classes.
And a history of rock music class this semester.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Ms. Griffin, is that the student in band, is that this year? Do you know, do we have a student in the High Brighton band?
It is. I know they were in it last year, and I think that she is still doing that this year. And she did arrange that separately. I think she found times after school when they were practicing, and she participated on Friday nights in the marching band last year. And of course, there haven't been Friday nights this year so far, but her plan was to continue that if she was able to this year.
Okay.
Okay, I've got a question for anyone that wants to answer this question. if he wants to take a music during the summer, can he do that as a high school student to go to the community college and take a band course, take guitar or whatever during the summer, since he's off for the summer, or he or she, whoever?
I think if the courses are offered, sometimes the summer selections at the college are limited, but definitely if they're offered, that would be something that we would look at. We actually have a team that approves the, oops, there goes my lights again, waving my arms. We have a team that meets to approve the summer classes. And so we want to make sure it's, it's part of their plan and they're able to do that. But I definitely think that would be an option if they were offered. And they may be, I just don't ever look for those classes in the summer. I'm trying to usually find different types of classes, but that's something we can look at.
Okay.
Ken, I've been told, over the years, it was hard to, since early college is different, to get a straight answer. So are students required to go for that 5th year, or can they opt to go ahead and graduate? Do they have to, go that long? Because I've heard varying answers.
Okay. Students, if they complete their associate's degree, and some of them do in 4 years, if they choose, along with their parents, to exit early with their associate's degree, then they are allowed to do so. The thing is it's not, it depends on the student and their particular situation, because most students, when they want to leave, it's for a social reason. Very few times are there academic reasons for students to leave early. And so what happens is a student may want to leave after 4 years, but once the parents realize that they're going to go off to school and pay for the same classes they could have gotten here for free, then sometimes they change their mind. So the 5th year really is important in meeting prerequisites for the university. And so those may be classes that they can't fit in 4 years. So that 5th year, if you're majoring in business, you can take microeconomics, macroeconomics, statistics, you can take computers, you can take accounting 1 and 2, you can take business law and management and marketing, and all those classes you can't fit in 4 years. So could you leave after 4 years with your associate's degree? Yes. Should you? Well, it just depends on your financial situation. Are you asking your parents to pay $21,000 for classes that they could take here for free during your 5th year? And that's really what it comes down to, is being able to get those prerequisite classes out of the way. And, some students, the majority of students do return for the 5th year because they want to be able to take those extra classes and have those count. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I have a question. I've returned my daughter's application to her middle school already, and I was just wondering when I would find out if she's accepted into the early college.
It will be, the counselors are, they're actually due next week to the counselors, and they will get them all to us probably by the following week. Our timeline, we think, will be mid-March to late March, but I'd be hopeful for mid-March, but so that should be, everybody will get a letter in the mail.
Just a follow-up question with that. What's your percentage of accepted applicants for all applicants? What's your class numbers? And if you want to just tell me, I need to go back and watch the videos that you referred to, that's fine too. I totally understand. But what's the general kind of numbers and percentage, if you can throw some out, and I won't hold you to it. Thank you so much.
Well, typically we have about between 200 and 225 applicants. Now, the number we accept, I mean, there's a little bit of variation because it could depend on how many students graduate early. So the only time we can add students is the 9th grade year. So if we have 15 students who are accelerating and graduating early, then we can have a little bit larger on the bottom end. But typically I would say it's probably close to between 40%, maybe to 50% acceptance on average a year. So we will take anywhere from 80 to 85 up to 100 even students in that ninth
starting in the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
And
it's not like 25,
that's
25,
the only entry point.
Yeah. Right. That's your, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's really helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We struggle a little bit because when we do send out acceptance letters, sometimes students, then they decline because maybe they just applied because a parent said, just apply and see if you get in. And then they really didn't want to come. Or they have applied to CASA also, the Applied Science Academy, and then they're trying to decide between schools which one. And so it's always, it's a little bit of a struggle at first because we may send 85 to 90 acceptance letters, but that doesn't mean, we'd love it if all those students said yes and we could move forward. But then it becomes, we would go to, the next on a wait list or whatever would happen.
What other clubs do you offer? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I was waiting to see if anybody else wanted to answer that.
Answer if you'd like.
Okay.
So we have Beta Club, Music Club. We have our what's the Rotary? Interact. That's with the Rotary, like a service club.
Quiz Bowl.
Yeah, we've had Quiz Bowl in the past. We've also had like
art
club, like a game club, both video games and like outdoor sports, like kickball and things like that. In the past, our clubs are really student driven. So if a student wants a club and they have people that want to join that club, they fill out an application and we go through and approve those. So that's why they kind of vary from year to year. When I was a student here, we had Glee Club and Drama Club because those were two that I really wanted. And so we made that happen. Those have since gone away for a little bit. I guess other students weren't as interested, but really it depends on the students and what they really want to see and what they want to be a part of.
We had a crafting club one year where students that really like to craft and create things like scrapbooking and like a Pinterest type thing, they did that. We've had a beatboxing club before. So just any interest that students have as a group and want to form a club and get a sponsor, they're able to do that.
Great. Thank you. What about the cost? Like I know the community college, you do like $2 a credit hour or something like that. And I can't think of what that's called. Activity fees.
Activity fees, yes.
Yeah. How does that factor into this? What is the overall cost?
Ms. Long, do you want to take that one?
Yes, it has changed a little bit in this last year. So it's $35 per semester and then $2 per course. So for a 9th grade student who takes one college class a semester, it would be $37. And then, our 4th and 5th year students who take more classes, it would be $2 for each of those classes on top of the 35. And that's each semester. And that's what they currently are. They could change, if the community college adds, I think they've added an insurance fee just because of all of the things going on right now in the world. So things could vary a little bit, but that's what it is right now.
I don't think I've known anybody to pay more than, like even a student who's taken 18 credit hours, has a full load in their 5th year. I haven't seen anybody more than $50.
No, it maxes, and I don't know the number off the top of my head. It maxes out at, I can look it up. Let me get back to you. I'll look it up really fast.
So I would say between $37 and $50 for the most part a semester an activity fee, and that's on the college side. That's a college activity fee.
What about the books for the college classes?
Currently, the textbooks are at no cost to students. Our school pays for it through our school funding, pays for all the college textbooks that the students need. We say the caveat is the first time through, because if they are in a class and they don't do well and they don't get credit for it, and that class had like a consumable lab book, it may be that the student would have to buy that lab book the second round. So the college textbooks are the students say they're free. It's like they're free to them, but trust me, we pay about $50,000 a year out of our school funds for them to use the college textbooks, and they're super expensive. If you all know the cost of college textbooks, they'll have this little bitty book and it's like $125. So we're constantly saying, be careful with that book, look out for it, don't lose it, because, if they do, then they have to replace that book. So, but they are provided.
It's max of $10 on top of the fee.
What was that?
The $2 is a max of $10. So would be a max really of $45.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. One of the skills I will say we teach students is how to look up the cost of their books. And in my class, we'll look at how you can buy books cheaper than going to the bookstore. We make them do a worksheet where they understand, like, these books that I'm taking cost how much money if I were having to pay for them. And you'd be surprised, some students are carrying around $1,000 worth of college textbooks that they're able to use, at no cost to them. So that is a huge in itself. I know I have a daughter in college, so I know how expensive those college textbooks are. But that's a good question. I'll check the chat box to see. So if you have a question, somebody asked, can students apply to both CASA and early college? Can students decline the invite? You are able to apply for both. I always say people want to know what's the difference. Both schools are wonderful programs, but they are a little bit different. So I tell people my best analogy is, if CASA is an orange and the early college is an apple, we're both fruits. But if you bite into an orange expecting an apple, you're going to be a little shocked. So they're fruits, but they're not the same thing. So there's different focus. At CASA, they have an academy, or they have certain academies that students can join and be a part of. And those are the classes that they take on the college campus, whether or not they're technical classes or some classes that will actually transfer. Whereas at the early college, every class students take starting in 9th grade goes towards the bachelor's degree. They are completing an associate degree to transfer to the four-year university. And so when they get to college, they'll have the 2 years of their general education requirements already completed. I see some more hands up. Ms. Clement, you can go ahead with your question.
I'm sorry, I don't have any more questions.
Oh, okay. I don't know how to.
I'm not sure how to take my hand away. There we go. Thank you.
I think I got it. You're so polite. Sometimes my students don't use that little raise your hand thing. Okay, Ms. Boyle, you can go ahead if you have a question.
I do. Could you talk a little bit about what the criteria is that you use to determine which students you're going to accept for next year?
Our school, built into our school, when our school was founded, we were founded on the fact that we must represent all aspects of Caldwell County. That is geographically, academically, ethnically, socioeconomically. So we have to take a cross section of Caldwell County. And so the way we do that is we compile the data from the application, and then this information is sent to a third party, and it's served out of UNC Greensboro. And this organization, I guess for probably the last 12 years at least, compiles and sends us back a list that's going to meet that criteria that we have to have.
Okay, so you have to take students from every school in the district. Okay.
That is the goal. Now, some years, truthfully, we don't have, there's some schools we have much lower numbers from. And so there has been in the case like a school with, whether it was Kings Creek or Oak Hill, one year we only had a couple students apply, and they ended up choosing to go to CASA instead of here, or they opted to attend their district high schools. But we are written into our grant, our modus of operandi is that we accept students. We take students from all over the county. So I try to tell students that we can't just take from one end of the county. So we truly represent geographically our entire county, and homeschool and private. So that also those individuals are taxpayers, so they're all also offered the opportunity to apply to our school.
Awesome.
Who else has, this is our question and answer time. So if you have additional questions.
Tim, could you, or maybe Ms. Griffin, could speak to, I know we're kind of at a standstill as to athletics, and I know a lot of parents are kind of wondering how that'll turn out to make a decision, especially those of us who are parents of children who are very active in certain sports, and it's an important outlet for them as well.
For as long as the early college has been around, every year it seems like it's brought up whether or not our students can participate in athletics at their district school. Just like the geographic diversity, academic, socioeconomic diversity was written in, that also was an important part of our the grant that began our school, is that students would be allowed to participate grades 9 through 12 in athletics at their district schools. It does continue to be brought up as a question, but I just believe that's part of it. Somebody's going to question that every year. And, when I have pushed back and asked those questions, it's always, if the application is out, you're applying, I don't think a change would happen quickly, even if, because everybody that's already here would be grandfathered into that. And so I get used to being asked that question, but personally, I don't think a change is going to be made.
And is your grant, is it with the Gates Foundation as well?
We were
Okay.
part of our school was founded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Okay.
Yes, when we were part of North Carolina New Schools Project, and now that kind of has gone away. So we're considered a cooperative, innovative high school. We function under the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction.
I'm a big fan, as you know, of the Gates Foundation and all the work you do, but thank you for clarifying that. I think that's something that a lot of the stakeholders, we need to get the word out that is written into the grant.
Well, one thing we say is that students who, if you are homeschooled, you also have the option to participate in sports at your district high school. And so to me, so you're gonna, homeschool students can play, but early college and CASA students can't participate. So especially in even virtual students that attend school virtually are able to participate in athletics. So I just don't think that there's going to be, I think they'll still be able to participate in sports. In fact, a lot of these teams, if they removed our students, the teams wouldn't make. And so, you know, our students are playing more, participating in more sports than just the football, basketball, baseball. So when you think about the swim teams and the soccer teams and golf team and tennis team that our students are active in, that definitely, you know, some of our traditional schools would have a hard time fielding a roster without our athletes. Additional questions? While you're thinking, and maybe if you have a different question, I will say, so the next steps after you turn it in and you get your the letter. So basically, if you're not accepted, you will go onto the wait list. And so if a spot opens up, we'll try to contact as soon as possible. We hope that we'd like to fill those spots so people know, because normally we do have events like a commitment signing. A lot of these things are to be determined, of course, depending on the status of health and safety and what's happening with the COVID-19 virus. Also, one thing that we really hope to be able to do, and I think we will be able to do it this summer, is have a summer bridge program. We normally have that for a couple days in the summer. That allows all the students who've been accepted to come in and kind of see the school, work with teachers, get a feel for what we do here and how we work in groups, and maybe have like a little project. And really it's an introduction to what things are going to be like. And they'll see the school, they'll learn how the ins and outs of like the cafeteria. They will train you on how to park and drive and pick them up and drop them off. And so, and they get to meet people, so, and their teachers and their fellow classmates. So by the time they return to school at the beginning of August, you know, it's not all this bundle of nerves, and they're not shocked. They're excited. They already know people here, and so it just makes for an excellent transition. That has made a huge difference, the summer bridge, when we've been doing that for several years. So students seem to really like that, and it definitely has an impact. So there's not that nerves of like first day of high school. They've already been over the summer. We will, when we send out the letter, the acceptance letters, we will have dates as much as we can, you know, that nailed down. So you'll know well in advance when that would be over the summer. Correct, Ms. Griffin?
Yes, and I just want to say that it's not mandatory. Every year we set those dates and someone calls and said, oh my goodness, that's when we've planned our summer vacation. You know, that's okay. It's highly encouraged because, as Ms. Burns said, it really helps us with that team building aspect. It really gets the students used to the school, used to their teachers. Prior to that first day, helps them get rid of all those first day jitters, but it is not mandatory. So once those dates are out, if something happens, it's okay. It's just highly encouraged because it really is just to benefit the students.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I think I've answered that one.
I've got a question.
Okay.
Case, like motivation, time management skills, is that good skills to have going into this? Is that something y'all will help him with?
Oh, yes. Yes and yes. They are great skills to have. But, you know, my husband's 54 and he doesn't have time management skills. So some people just need a little bit longer and a little bit more nurturing and taking care of to kind of develop that. Some students don't. I think we have to give them examples and timelines and put the structures in place to help them be successful. And I think our 9th grade teachers do a fantastic job of that, kind of leading students that way. You know, these students are going to grow grow, your son or daughter, they're going to grow so much over the course of 5 years. Like you'll see them in 9th grade. I know I'm looking at Amy Hensley right here. You know, Landon, from the time he came in 9th grade to when he left in 5th year, I mean, there is such growth. And really, truthfully, the most growth to me takes place after their senior year during that 5th year. They really, it just all seems to come together. And, but yes, we help them starting out, you know, how to make a list with those structures that are going to help them be successful. Because they don't know what it's like to be a college student, and they don't know those things coming in. So we definitely don't expect them to already know it. We're going to teach that and give them the skills to do that. Now, if they already know it, that's fantastic. But we will go under the assumption that they're going to need some training and they're going to need support to be able to get there.
Okay, so it's not like you're just going to throw them in the deep end and say, here you go, we'll walk you to class and walk you back.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. They will hear things over and over and over again, and presentations and modeling, and just lots of, they'll have lots of support.
Okay, thank you.
I think there was a question, I may have answered this, the max number of 8th graders that will be accepted. I don't know, Ms. Griffin, that we have that exact number, but
it's usually, well, last year, this year's current freshman class, we accepted 92. Typically, it's around one, well, we usually don't typically exceed 100 per grade level. So we kind of max out at 100 per grade level.
Right, yeah.
How many high school teachers do you have there to cover the 100 students?
In 9th grade, they have 5 teachers. They have a math, science, English, social studies, and then they have a seminar instructor. So there are 5 high school teachers in the 9th grade. How many students, so here's a question, how many students drop out or fill out, don't cut it? Well, I mean, I guess technically we have 100% high school graduation rate. So do we have a number of students who get here and decide that the early college system is not for them? Sometimes we have a couple each, it's not many, I don't know. Does anybody want to answer that, Ms. Forster? How many students would you say per year if they transfer back to the traditional high school, which is a process? It's not easy. They can't just come in one day and decide they want to leave and be gone the next week. So there is a timeline and an application, and sometimes it's fairly rigorous because our county leaders want them to understand that once you come, you have taken someone's spot that wanted to be here. And so
I would say, since I've been at the early college up to this year, there was only about 1. And it has been different this year due to lots of course, with COVID and different things that have come up in people's lives. So we've had 2 or 3. But I will say, coming from a traditional setting, it is really amazing the support that the early college provides for students. And when we see that they are, you know, something's happening and we see a grade that, you know, is slipping a little bit, we immediately jump on that. It's not like we wait until they're already failing a class. They get lots of support from the beginning. They're watched really closely with their grades and making sure that they are turning in assignments. When Mrs. Burns talked earlier about really helping students, it's there from day one. So we hope that they don't, you know, get to the point that they're in a hole and they can't get out of it. Of course, that it takes a lot of work, and Same with time management. Some students it takes longer and some need more support than others. But typically in the past, it's been about 1 student a year.
Yeah. We have a question, and this I don't know the answer to. Is there a time that we can bring our student to tour the campus? Currently, we're not able to do that during this, the school day with our students already here because we're having to limit the number of people in our building due to social distancing. We could, I don't know, we could see what we could work out. There goes my light again, sorry. Yes, we could, I don't know, that's something we haven't had a discussion about. We would have to get together and plan to see what that would look like.
And that was me that asked that. I asked, we were actually in quarantine and unable to attend the in-person.
Gotcha.
And of course, going into high school is scary enough. And it's even scarier, they have an idea of what traditional high school looks like.
Right.
What High Brighton, West, or South Caldwell looks like inside. They don't have that come in, to the EC. So it's an additional layer of being worried and maybe even a hint. Well, do I really want to, we want to push them if we feel, it's best for them. But of course, they're having 14-year-old brains, and I want the traditional experience. I don't know what this is like. Whoa, not going to do it. And it's important as parents to know when to gently push and encourage that.
Exactly. Well, I will say the video on the beginning, the one with the teachers in it, definitely goes on a tour of the building. And I know that there are some parents here who were in the building that were able to be in here that night. I can tell you, this is probably the least scary building of any high school in the county because it's so simple. The 9th grade classrooms are literally side by side. Like you are not walking 2 feet to your next class. And then there's a bathroom within 20 feet of that. And then it's kind of, it's the most simple layout because you enter on the ground floor, and then the first floor is the office and the cafeteria for them. And the second floor, all their classrooms are just side by side. And so I get that that's a big, that could be unnerving and cause anxiety. But I think once students are led through, especially that summer bridge, and that's why we do that, to get them kind of acclimated to the campus. Well, during summer bridge, they actually go up on the college campus too, to see where the library, the Learning Resource Center, academic support, because our students are able to take advantage of all of those things also because they're college students starting in 9th grade. And so we kind of, we lead them around and let them see, those parts of the campus also during summer bridge.
And you did say, I'm sorry, I'm one of those who the more communication, the better. And you would say, I think, Ms. Forrester, it's important to me that mental health is really, I know teachers have so much on their plate already that sometimes certain signs are not seen, and unfortunately that's where we are today. I just want to make sure, it seems to be increasing. It was a problem before pre-pandemic, and certainly now that more are affected, it's become more of an issue into light. But to me as a child advocate and, within the state and even personally, that's a big one for me. I've heard wonderful, great things, but I just, I have to take that part of me off and the parent, and I just have to make sure that is reassured. A lot of people don't speak about this issue anyway. And it's important to say, that it's happened, in my household, and those are genuine concerns that you guys and the staff there are kind of looking for those
We really do realize and talk about that. I'll be honest, I've not seen anxiety in students in all of my many years in counseling like I have this year. And when I'm talking to students, when teachers are talking to students, we are saying, we know that you are experiencing anxiety because we are experiencing anxiety. So we're sharing our feelings and constantly checking in with them. Just like in any situation, I get referrals for students that need additional support. Our teachers are very in tune to students and their needs. But when I talked about the close-knit community, if we see a change in behavior, we immediately, that might be referred to me. The teacher that has a good connection with that student might, have the conversation initially. If a referral is made to me, we keep in close contact with parents. We let parents know. I never hesitate to contact a parent. In fact, I probably contact more parents than some counselors do. So we really do try to do, we have supports in place, and I do try to provide as many services as I can and refer out when I need to.
All right. How many, are you the only counselor there? I know there's a certain allotment factor, which definitely.
I am the only counselor.
Okay, and that's to how many students?
Almost 400.
Okay, great.
It seems like a lot. I've managed that many students for quite a number of years off and on. The staff and the seminar classes, I will say I couldn't do it without the staff at the early college and the support of seminar, which have we talked much about seminar, Ms.
Yeah, I was going to ask what is seminar? I know that Kim does that, but that's a new word.
What I like about seminar, and I want somebody else to speak to this too, is there's a lot of social emotional learning that's done along with personal growth and academic supports in seminar that really match, I'll say, align with the counseling standards. And so I feel like that is a great support as a counselor to our school. And each grade level is different. Ms. Burns or somebody else would like to speak to that.
Yeah, seminar course, we have had that every year since the school's been a school since 2006. So every grade has a seminar. And for example, in 9th grade, seminar class is, well, we say you learn a lot about yourself. The theme is who am I? So a 9th grade student is they're going to figure out how they study best, what type of learner they are. Are they auditory? There's lots of things that focus on developing how they learn, how they study, what their needs are, what's important to them. Also within that class, the students read Ron Clark, the Essential 55. And so that's where these social emotional behaviors and how to interact, how to work in a group together, how to wait outside the elevator and stand to the side so people can come out, how to look people in the eye and shake hands, everything from that to how to set a table, a place setting, how to tie a tie. We've changed tires before throughout seminar instructions. They may learn later on how to apply for a car loan or file their taxes. Obviously, in 5th year seminar, we're looking at colleges and applying to college and completing the financial aid process and applying for scholarships. I think the big difference at the early college is that there is designated time to do this. There is a class devoted to these things. Seminar in 10th grade looks a little bit different because normally it's focusing on where am I, and that's the Caldwell County heritage. And so under non-COVID times, students would go from Happy Valley to Dudley Shoals, they'd hike High Brighton Mountain. A lot of our college visits go through seminar class. In 11th grade, they start looking at careers more. They do job shadowing. All of our community service goes through these seminar classes and kind of the themes that they have. So it really encompasses, it's like when you see those things on social media that are like, why don't they teach us this in school? Inevitably, this we do teach, and it goes through seminar class at our school.
That
And-
kind of segues into my question.
Okay.
What kind of career counseling do you do? I mean, he doesn't know at this point whether he wants to be a brain surgeon or an astronaut kind of thing.
Well, part of that, I would say, and anybody else can chime in, is as these students start taking more college classes, they kind of get this feel of whether they like the science and they like the lab. You know, it's easy for me to say, I want to be a nurse. But here, through our school, we have students that are actually, you know, they're taking college biology and they're taking anatomy and physiology, and they may get their CNAs. And so they really know whether, by the time they leave here, if that's something they want to do. In 11th grade, they're going to do these career inventories through seminar class. They're going to be able to job shadow and see if it's something that they're interested in. And what I tell students is just as important if you figure out, if you job shadow a particular career or someone and you find out you don't like that, that's important too. I mean, that's important to know. It's important to know what you want to do. And sometimes with my students, because they're like, I'm not sure what I want to major in. And I'm like, well, let's eliminate some things. And usually I say, do you love math? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, well then we don't want to be maybe some of these things. So I think they do get lots of training in that every year. There are guest speakers that come in normally that may share jobs. And then as they take these college classes, I think it's important they're going to look at, these are the courses it's going to take to become an engineer. And they're like, oh, I don't like math. And it's like, well, if you want to be an engineer, you have to take a lot of calculus. And they're like, okay, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to do something else. So I think we do a good job of matching what they want with, and then giving them different options. There's so much out there that students don't even think about. And so we actually have to look when we go to the campuses, which is good. I know we haven't mentioned so far yet, but we have students at these universities already. And so like this year, if we're not able to visit the colleges, we try to bring the colleges to them because we have students on campus. And so they share their expertise, their knowledge. They can show our students around the dorm room and kind of share what's helped them and give them the advantage. Anybody else want to chime in about careers? Okay. Let me see. We did have the question a second ago. CASA, the Caldwell Applied Science Academy, it's not in our building. They have a building up on campus. They're just up the hill a ways. CASA, they do come down here though. They do, we share the cafeteria staff. And so they travel down here for lunch every day, but none of their classes are in our building. So that's a separate building up the hill, as we like to say, because it is a hill. You learn really quick when you start walking it. You're walking up the hill. Okay, yeah. What other questions? Does somebody have another question? Anything you can think of?
I got one.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this. How do we make up work if the student has to miss week because of flu, because of COVID, maybe broke arm, who knows?
Right.
How do we make up homework or schoolwork?
Right. Normally, I mean, the instructors, whether it's your high school instructors or it's your college instructors, there's a platform, whether it's Canvas or Moodle or Blackboard, there will be a way for students to communicate with their college instructors and with their high school instructors to get those assignments and get the things that they missed. The only thing that we have to be careful about is because the college doesn't have excused absences, there is a number. If a student misses more than, I think, 20% of the college course, then they are dropped from the class. So, but usually we don't have that problem. I mean, students are not going to miss that many days because college classes may only meet once or twice a week. So it's not like if you got the flu for a week, it may just end up being 2 college classes that you missed overall. That will be a lot, but still, it's not like you would miss 5 days.
Okay, thank you.
I've talked a little bit about Summer Bridge. I don't think I've mentioned the calendar for next school year has not been approved. Correct, Ms. Griffin? But typically the calendar, we will start the 6th, 7th, 8th of August, and we would get out around the 3rd week in May. That's kind of what it's been for as long as we've been around. We start before the college starts classes to get students in, get them acclimated, and then we get out a little bit earlier. So. And then let's see, we talked about the due dates that being due to the counselors next week, depending on whether your A day, that might be Tuesday, or your B day, that might be Thursday, which would be the 4th, or if you're homeschool or privates, or Caldwell Connect. Caldwell Connect, you actually will return your applications to the middle school, the district middle school. And so, or whatever timeline the counselor has given you, I should say that maybe they've already, they have something in place.
Kim, I held off on sending the teacher recommendations because of my earlier question. Are all teachers aware of this, that these might show up, like the former students? And do we have enough time now? Have we already gone too far? We waited too long if the other parts are in place? And do we drop those off at our child's homeschool if they're in Caldwell Connect?
I believe you would drop them off at your home school to have teachers fill those out. I think I know that I've been to every school to present, and we've also had a separate presentation for counselors. And so the counselors are aware of what's kind of needed. Occasionally, if there's a recommendation that comes in after, the counselor will just send that over or bring it. I can tell you that we do allow counselors, there's a little bit of grace period on our side for when they need to have things to us. Now, depending on who your counselor is, I can't answer for them, but I would imagine if you communicate that, if you still have one to come in because your call will connect, they would be able to work with you.
I think they're going to be fine with that, Ms. Burns. If a student, has not gotten to that point, they are working with the Caldwell Connect students, the counselors are. So please don't hesitate to call those counselors. They have been fantastic to work with.
Can you clarify who that is? My child's homeschool is William Lenore, and I know Terry Chester, she transferred for Caldwell Connect, right? Do we talk to the Caldwell Connect counselor or the school counselor?
You talk to the school counselor, and
I'm
trying to who that is. Let me look that up real quick.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Burns.
Yes.
This is Ellen LaBrose, data manager.
Yes.
And I was just going to say that most of those counselors are getting all of the information. And when they collect all the information, they are going back to the teachers to see if they can get those. So they're collecting all of the information. So if there's something missing, they'll be contacting the applicant.
Yeah, okay. Good deal. Thank you for answering that. I didn't know you were on here. I could have called on you some other times.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember her name, and I went to William Lenore, so I can't, I mean, to speak, but I think the counselor's new, but she's very nice and she's willing to help in whatever way she can. Anything else you can think of? I'm trying to think of things. I know what students are worried about. I think we all do. The student concerns are, what about my friends? You know, I may be going to this school and my friends may be going to a different school. That has been around forever. All I can tell you is, to my knowledge, we've never ever in the history of our school have had a student leave here because they couldn't find any friends and they were away from their friends. They meet new people if they keep their old friends, but they meet new ones, people they never would have met before. And I'd say the vast, like almost all of our graduates, they love our school. They always want to come back and represent and share the good things that they've learned. And they definitely see the advantage economically. You can't underestimate what 2 years of college, the boost that it gives you financially if you're not having to pay for that. So whether it's from a private school like Appalachian or Western, that 2 years would be about $42,000, $40,000 to $42,000, to private schools that 2 years would be upwards from $80,000 to $100,000. So definitely, it's a game changer when it's time to go to a university. If you already have half of it, all your general education requirements met, and you've got your prereqs, and so you can hopefully roll straight into the university and be successful because you've been taught those skills beginning in 9th grade.
I did locate the school counselor. I apologize. I should know that offhand. It is Michelle Powell. She is a new counselor there, but she has shown us that she is very, she wants to be very helpful during this process. So just like all the counselors are fantastic.
So no dedicated. I know she's done both. I had forgotten her name, but she dealt with my younger. So thank you for looking that up. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And we also have a graduate of our school who's teaching at William Lenore Middle. Mr. Nathan Minton is there, and we have a graduate.
My daughter is in love. She said he's phenomenal, and I listened to him. I am blown away. I mean, I'm really blown away. He is, wow. My daughter's like, I got really lucky. And so he's great. So kudos to you guys.
And then at Gainwell Middle, we also have Tori Green. I started to say Arnold, but that was her maiden name. She also is a graduate of our school. And so she teaches 8th graders. So we like to expand upon that. And we have lots of other teachers in the county who graduated from our school. But, I just wanted to mention, I know those are in 8th grade. Somebody has, can students earn scholarships coming out of the early college towards four-year universities? Absolutely. That's what we work on in my class. Right now, January, February, and March is prime scholarship time. And so they're getting an hour and a half at least every week class time devoted to working on scholarships. And so last year, our graduates, the class of 2020, earned $6.5 million in scholarships. That's 76 graduates earning a total of $6.5 million. And so we are, I keep encouraging them this year because, because of COVID, everything looks a little bit different. I know there was a scholarship before Christmas. Ms. Forrester said our students were the only students in the county that applied for that scholarship. And I think that's in part because we have a class. we have class time that's devoted to applying for scholarships. So they're not trying to work it around a job and work it around school and do it on their own late at night. So you have me with a cattle prod kind of saying, this is the scholarship you need to apply for, fill it out, share it, I'll check it, we'll get it turned in. And we do that second semester. That's our main focus, is finding money for school. Let's see. I think, so yes, scholarships most definitely. Any other questions?
I've got a question on scholarship here.
Yep.
Can any of the 8th graders or freshmen go ahead and apply for scholarships for the future?
You know what? There is one website, and it's particular for certain scholarships, but it's called Raise Me, R-A-I-S-E, me. And in 9th grade, they can start entering in information like their service and their clubs and their grades. And there are schools in North Carolina who, it's like for every A you get $100. For every club they're in, for every hour of community service, they earn money. I'll be honest, I was skeptical at first when I heard about this, because I thought, did they really get that money? But I had students within the past 2 years to earn, a couple $1,000s, not on anything they did differently, but just on having a job and making good grades. And it's called Raise. I think it's raise.me. There are schools like Queen's University in Charlotte, East Carolina, I think Gardner-Webb. There are some schools in North Carolina that take that. And so that's one that I know that students can start working on in 9th grade, because it gets a little overwhelming if you wait till your 5th year and then you're trying to remember and add everything from your entire high school. It's a little bit of a challenge. Now, we do have students create a Google Doc, a computerized document where they can keep up with their community service and keep up with their events. I know our students have resumes. They start those in like 11th grade, I believe. And so we try to get them to keep up with that, because their service, their community service, that is a huge, tremendous selling point to get accepted. I will say NC State announced last Friday acceptances, and this year we are having tremendous success with our students getting accepted to the 4-year universities. We always have. But especially this year, I think the universities, they know the value of, if your student already has an associate's degree, when they apply, that shows they're committed to their education and that they can do the work. And so that has a tremendous impact on admissions at the university. So we had 8 students apply for NC State, and we had 7 get accepted, and we have 1 that's on a wait list, and he'll find out March 30th, and I'm 100% guaranteed that he will get accepted there also, although that's not even his first choice. But so we have a high success rate on helping our students get into college.
Thank you.
Anything else anybody can think of? You can, if something else comes up, on our school website, if you go to the teacher list, the staff list, you can find our emails, Ms. Long, myself, Ms. Forrester, Ms. Griffin. You can email us any questions. You also can call the school if something else comes up. And I know Ms. LaBrose is normally, she's kind of our person in the office, the go-to question, the person if you have questions in particular about the application. So you can direct those questions. If you have overall school questions or anything else that comes up, any one of us will be glad to answer any questions that you have. I thank you all for, I know it's been about 90 minutes, so thank you for staying the course. I hope we've answered your questions, and you can rewatch any of the videos, show them to your son and daughter, and just know that we're committed to doing what's best for them, doing right by them. We want to build a relationship with them. We want to include you, the parents, in that, because we can't do what we do without parents. We need the parent involvement. We need the parent support, because we're trying to help students get to the next level, find out what they want to do,